we get to dive into the Word together today. The chapter of today is Matthew 13 in our 3-year reading plan. And there's so much in this chapter, but what I want to focus on is the parable of the sower. Jesus shares this parable with the crowd and then later explains it to his disciples. Firstly, I find this parable ironic that it's called the parable of the sower, because the sower is the most constant thing, sowing seeds in all different soils without discrimination. Yet there's 4 different soils. And the soil is what determines if the seed is sown, rooted, and then flourishes. And as we know, Jesus is the sower, constantly sowing seeds of hope, truth, love, peace, promises, joy, and the gospel. And the soils are the states of our souls. And I want to focus on verses 18 to 23, and I'm going to read them for us really quickly, explaining the different soils. So it says, "Listen to what the parable of the sower means. When anyone hears a message about the kingdom and does not understand it, the evil one comes and snatches away what was sown in their heart. This is the seed sown along the path. The seed falling on the ground, rocky ground, refers to someone who hears the word and at once receives it with joy. But since they have no root, they only last a short time. When trouble or persecution comes because of the word, they quickly fall away. The seed falling among the thorns refers to someone who hears the word, but the worries of life and the deceitfulness of wealth choke the word, making it unfruitful. But the seed falling on good soil refers to someone who hears the word and understands it. This is the one who produces a crop yielding 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown." I find this parable pertinent to our time because we are living in a time where we've never experienced before. Our schedules are thrown off. There's changing news all the time. There's fear. There's uncertainties. There's unknowns. We don't even know what to expect. And some of us are even planting gardens. But I find it a beautiful space where we actually have time like we've never had before. I know people probably have crazy schedules, but there's still time with our families and in our homes that we wouldn't have otherwise. And I wonder what we can do with this time, reflecting on the states of our souls and seeing what God wants to sow into our souls right now, what seeds of hope, what seeds of truth, what seeds of promise, identity he wants to sow in this season so we can bear fruit out of this season, 160, 30-fold. And I just want to encourage us to look at the state of our soul. Is it like the path, like we don't even hear the word and it gets taken before we receive it? Is this time revealing the roots aren't as strong as we thought and we wanted? Or are we worried about the future of our world? Are we worried about the security of finances? Are we worried about these things that are choking out the promises that God is our Jehovah Jireh, that he is our protector, that he cares for us more than the lilies in the field? Or are we at ease and at rest and trusting in God with all that we have, knowing that he has a plan and purpose for us, knowing that he wants to speak to us in this season because he wants us to produce so much fruit on the other side of this? So I just genuinely ask, what is the state of the soil of your soul during this season? And I know all of us want it to be good soil. And so I pray that you press into God during this season because I know he has specific seeds he wants to sow into your heart this season, so a season of darkness, so you can see season of fruit and harvest on the other side of this. And I want to share an encouraging word. We've been having revival prayer meetings for the past 2 years pretty much. And a theme that constantly keeps coming up is that we've been tilling the soil so we can be prepared for what God has for us. And I believe that's for our church. I believe that's for the church. I believe that's for our hearts. And I genuinely encourage you to till the soil of your heart, remove the weeds, remove the roots that are no longer producing fruit, remove all that's in the way of God sowing the deep seeds of truth and hope and promise into you during this season. And so I pray for revival. I pray that we see 100-fold fruitfulness on the other side of this pandemic. I pray that you have a great Good Friday. Much love.